Good evening and welcome to the programme. I'm Graham Mack, and as you can see, we've got two very special guests. Well, John Pearman's more of a co-host than a guest, but yeah, welcome to Read All Over YouTube. Tonight, is Liverpool Football Club about to get a new controversial owner? What went wrong against Manure United? And should Sunday's game have been called off because it was so difficult for fans to get to the match? Our special guest tonight is the voice of Anfield, George Sephton. How are you, George?
I'm fine, thank you. I think
Okay,
just that
and
this is the week we all remember what day it is for the first time since
that's right. Yeah,
before Christmas.
it's all got some kind of structure to it now, George. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Who are you again?
I say the year starts here.
The year starts here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
okay.
year starts here.
As usual, the editor of Liverpool's longest lasting and only surviving Liverpool fanzine. For almost 30 years, he's been the editor. John Pearman, good evening.
Good evening.
Now, this is something I was going to leave till last as an and finally, but I think we should start with it because there's been a shocking new development to this story. This first happened on Friday, and I didn't take too much notice of it because of the source of where it came from. It is Elon Musk set to buy LFC. John, you're looking at this now as if this is the first you've seen of it.
It is.
Oh, well, George, I think George is up to speed on this. And George, you probably have to be
Yeah,
careful what you say being an employee of Liverpool Football Club.
yeah. I haven't seen that newspaper. Well, is it a newspaper or is it Weekend Sport? Yeah,
It is
whatever.
Weekend Sport. It's
The
from Friday's, the front page, yes.
That's okay. But no, I just saw something online just before I came down to put my laptop on, and I remarked to my wife in passing that if he buys Liverpool FC, we are emigrating.
Right, okay.
No ifs, buts, or maybes. I'll just go and find a quiet, somewhere quiet like Syria, looking good at the moment. I think there'd be riots on the streets of Liverpool if this. And I'm trying to think of a name to call him, which I won't get sued for. But if this gentleman,
We are live on Twitter. We are live on his platform right now, but maybe we can test just how much of an advocate of free speech he really is to see if we actually
no,
get to the end of the
no, thank
program.
you. I really don't want to spend the rest of my life in the county court. Thank you very much. I'll leave it at
Okay.
that.
Okay.
I refrain from saying anything about Americans normally because I don't know. I'm not that close to the Henry family that I'll know, which side of the bread's buttered on. So I just stay out of that altogether, really and truly. But that is just such a horrifying prospect. With I can't think of anything worse, to happen to our club at the moment. I really
John?
couldn't.
I think that if that's
I'm
the
hoping it's speculation.
if the Weekend Sport is what I think the paper is, I think it's not worth even putting in the toilet.
Well, right. Now,
No.
I was the same way. Now, I found it today. I hadn't heard, it happened on Friday, and I hadn't heard about it because believe it or not, I'm not a reader of the Weekend Sport. So I looked at it today and thought, oh, that'll be a funny thing for us to finish on, right? Because it's ridiculous because of where it comes from. But then, and I know you're aware of this, George, today on Times Radio, Elon Musk's dad was interviewed, and I have a copy of the interview here, and this is what he said.
Want to buy Liverpool Football Club?
I can't comment on that. They'll raise the price. I can't comment on that.
Yes or no?
But,
Come on, does he?
No,
Has he expressed
let's
a
get back
desire?
let's get back to Nigel.
Come on, Errol. Come on. I am a Liverpool fan. It means a lot to me.
I can't tell you that.
Has he expressed a desire to buy Liverpool Football Club?
Oh, yes. Oh yes, but that doesn't mean he's buying it, you know. So,
But
yeah,
it
I
is
don't
in
know.
his
I'd have to
sights.
see.
It is in his sights.
He would like to, yes. Obviously, you know, anybody would want to, you know. So would I.
But not
Yeah.
everyone's got enough cash, have they, for that?
No, no.
Why Liverpool Football Club?
Well, his grandmother was born in Liverpool, and we have relatives in Liverpool, and we were fortunate enough to know quite a few of the Beatles because they grew up with us, my family and stuff, and so we were attached to Liverpool, you know.
Now it's scary, isn't it? This is why I've decided to open with it, because that's Elon Musk's dad, and there is a connection to Liverpool with the family. I mean, I'm not buying that they grew up with the Beatles. I mean, you know, it's another one of those. You know, anyone who was in Liverpool in the '60s went to the Cavern, and it's not big enough to hold everybody that says they were there. But I'm not having that bit of it. But if he has got a connection to Liverpool, maybe that does make it a bit more serious.
It couldn't be more serious. I'll say it's crazy. I mean, I mistrust everything I see in some broadcast media nowadays. But that just the fact that somebody's articulated that thought, and Errol, whatever thing he
Errol
didn't
Musk,
deny
yeah.
it. And well, I was when I went to school, musk was a perfume. Yeah, but, I, I'm
Well, it could
very
be the sweet
very
smell of
dubious about
success then.
somebody. Yeah, I'm very dubious about somebody who called his son Elon to start with. I'm taking that with a large tin of sacks of salt. I really am, but I'm
Okay,
hoping
all right, yeah.
it's
Me
speculation.
too.
On the other
Me
hand,
too.
maybe he'll take
Because we
the
could be
negotiation.
talking about your future boss here, George. This is how
Yeah,
serious
no,
this
I
is.
was just about to say, given the state of the negotiations with some of the takeovers in recent past at other clubs, I'll be in the old folks' home by the time he actually takes over, or somewhere secure anyway, out of the way. But it just doesn't bear thinking about. It really doesn't. Like, you imagine the prospect of, well, John, you and I both saw that presentation by Kieran Maguire the other week about
Yes, yes.
the media guys thinking that in future nobody will actually come to stadiums. They'll all have these AI headsets and just sit in their front room and they feel like they're in the stadium. And I can imagine that Elon Musk's people are already thinking that way. It's the future. I mean, we've seen the good times, but I fear for my grandchildren what they're going to get when they go to football matches in the future. It'll all be
But when they go to
it'll be a lot
Anfield in
more
Texas, you
cheerleading.
mean?
Yeah.
You know, because, I mean, if he did buy it, there's no guarantee he'd keep it in Liverpool, is there?
Oh no, that's the other. That's I mean, that's going to happen anyway because there's people in the English FA who are very keen to have a Premier League game played abroad. I mean, I'm old enough to remember my dad coming home from the match on the bus, and he'd been sat next to Billy Little on the bus and that sort of thing. The Liverpool Football Club, even when I started going to Anfield, which is now 65 years ago, the there was no, you didn't see anybody who didn't have a Scouse accent. You really didn't. And now, because of TV and whatever, the whole thing's an open book. Um, it just worries me. Well, not just the fact that we have people flying from all over the world to come and see Liverpool. That's great. I always say they're part of the Liverpool family, which is terrific. But what I do worry about is the likes of Elon Musk and the rest of the Bond villains, and I'm sure that's all they are, there must be hatching all sorts of plans somewhere, to change what we've treasured for a century and a half.
Mm.
But I'll
You
say
see,
we'll just have
when I first heard it, I thought, okay, well, there's Musk sitting in his volcano, and he's got this idea maybe, but it might be he wants to own an English football club, and Man United, I'm sure, would love to have him, and I bet Everton would be quite pleased if as well. So I'm just hoping that this relative of theirs is an Evertonian, because it's not for us. It's really not for it. It was when he said that there was when his dad said there was a Liverpool connection with the family. I think that's the scariest thing I've heard all day. And I've just watched Trump speaking, and I think that's even scarier than what Trump's just had to say. Yeah. John, where are you at with this? What are you thinking?
I don't think it's. I'd be very surprised if there's a shred of truth in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's all cling to that. That's the thing we need to cling to, I think.
Let's face it, the FSG have had offers or reported to have had offers from the Saudis and all those, and they've not sold it. They, mind you, I don't know, but like with George, I worry about the future of football and the fan base and all that. It is getting to a situation now, and I will always say I'm not just talking about Liverpool, but the Premier Division now, where they target fans from abroad. No matter what the club, they target fans from abroad, and they will bring them in the plane loads, just to watch Premier Division football, and that's how it's going. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you look at it with Musk, I think, Musk is incredibly smart, but he's also mad, and unlike Trump, who's he's mad, but he's incredibly dumb. Musk at the moment his thing seems to be politics and free speech, which is why he's bought Twitter and was why he's in bed with Trump. I don't think this fits into what he's about. This doesn't help him get to Mars. I don't think this fits in with what Musk is currently about. Having Liverpool or any football club or any involvement with any sporting club, it doesn't seem to fit to me with what Musk is currently about. So I think we've got that too. Yeah.
Stick my oar in there. You
Okay.
just mentioned the magic word. I see where he's going now. Will Liverpool be away to Mars United one day?
That's where Anfield will be, on Mars. Yeah.
Yeah.
No jokes about the atmosphere.
Oh, there you go, John. Well done.
Don't give up the day job. No.
Brilliant. All right, enough of that. Let's talk about being a football fan then. I'll start with you on this one, John. You missed the game on Sunday. In fact, Liam McAteer has sent us a picture of where you normally stand selling the world-famous Red or Low. Normally, that spot there outside Anfield on a match day, there is the figure of John Pearman dressed in black shouting, "Red all over the land, Liverpool fanzine, only £2. And you weren't there. Look, the only thing that's showing there is your name, because I forgot to take it off the screen.
That's exactly where I stand.
It's weird, that, isn't it? Maybe I should just put it back on. There we go. Let's see. Oh, I don't even know how to get it back. I can't get it. Oh, there. That was briefly it. There it is. There you go. That's usually where it says John Pearman. That is about where you stand, John. So you didn't get to the match, and it was the weather's fault.
Well, bit of everything, really. To be honest, I've had a bit of a cold for a few days, and it was really getting to me a bit on Saturday evening. Got up Sunday morning, saw the state of things, went on to look at Merseyrail, and of course, 2 snowflakes, and Merseyrail's got disruptions, and they were putting buses on, but no real timings about the buses. I think everything was going to be hit and miss, and I just thought, I'm just not going to go. I don't like that. not just for the football, but for the fanzine. But it just didn't seem. It seemed like a risk, and of course, the game was never going to be called off. Two reasons: one, Sky, and the Liverpool pitch is in perfect condition all year round now. That wasn't going to be the only thing that if there'd have been a danger to the emergency services, then yes, it could have been called off. But there was no reason not to play it. And in the end, they said they got 60-odd thousand people there, so fine. But I just think it was admirable because you mentioned Liam. I heard people from Ireland who had been sitting in Dublin airport for a couple of hours waiting for news that they could actually fly into Liverpool or to John Lennon or to Manchester. The same for people flying in from Belfast. And I do know that some of the lads came in, I think these were the ones from Belfast, and got to Manchester Airport and hired a car. So, their day was, the cost of their day was going up by the hour, or by the minute. But they got there. They didn't land until, I think it was 1 o'clock. So, there's no chance of getting trains at that time because everything was either not running or delayed or whatever it was. So I think it was amazing that people went to such great lengths to get there. And I think that was a credit to them. But not just Liverpool fans, the United fans as well. They had to travel.
From Kent.
Well, so yeah, a lot of ours came from there.
Okay.
It was fantastic that people actually got there, and it was a disappointing result, a disappointing performance. But I think it was Alan Shearer said Liverpool got this, that, and the other, but they didn't get beat. And
unless you watched it on Sky afterwards, it sounded like we had. I think Sky were reporting that Manchester United beat us 2-2. I think was what they were. It felt like that anyway.
But I don't know how it was for George or how his day altered with the weather. I can just imagine you, George. Not now, of course, but in the old days, you'd have been struggling with them in them conditions to get up the stairs and all up the. But I don't know how you fared on Sunday. Whether it changed your plans.
No, well, I must admit, I woke up very early on Sunday morning. I looked out and saw the snow. I thought, here we go. But the last couple of mornings we've had snow on the roof of my car, and it's gone by the time I've got up and had my breakfast. But Sunday, I was one of the few people who was desperate for that game to be called off all week because of for any reason, because I've been saying to people for a while, United are going to get their act together sometime. Please God, it's not when they play us. I got that one spot on because they did. I don't know what fired them up or why. But all you heard since is apparently their manager was mad because he doesn't know why they hadn't done it before. He's obviously never had play a team in a derby match before because they were at it from the word go. They really were. And again, there was a few complaints about decisions and whatever, but in the end, when we were 2-1 up, I thought, just cling on, please, lad, just don't let this lot, go away. And of course, United being United, you'd think they'd won the World Cup, World War III, the Lotto, everything all in one go, and they're in the bottom half of the league, for goodness sake. Which is where this lot belong at the moment. But who knows? We'll see what happens for the rest of the season.
But you got there, okay? How did you get there then, George? You just your normal drive in?
The normal drive in. My big problem is just getting out of the estate where I live because the last bit is a very steep slope down to a bridge over Merseyrail, as it happened. But it wasn't iced up. But some other poor slobs were being out earlier than me, and they turned the snow into slush. The roads were very quiet. I drove straight to Anfield, got into the Kenny Dalglish car park, and then I discovered they'd cleared the body of the car park, but nobody had thought to clear the actual parking spaces next to the wall behind. So I ended up with two poor stewards went and found shovels and made room for me to get in. So that was all right. And so once I'm in, my car parking space, it's straight into reception, up in the lift, and keep out the way. But I know my daughter who lives in Bootle had trouble getting there because the pavements were absolutely iced up. She normally comes home with me and gets a lift in with her husband. Of course, Murphy's Law in full flight. His car broke down last Friday. He's waiting for a spare part, so she ended up getting a taxi to Anfield, which she wasn't best impressed with.
From Bootle, yeah, that'll cost a few bob.
Yeah, it did, yeah, but such is life. But she's loyal enough. She would have gotten her whatever.
Do you think the game should have been called off, George?
Well,
because let's face it, if there was, they've delayed kickoffs for traffic on the M6 before, so.
Oh yes, but they don't do anything. As John said the magic word, Sky. They've the TV people rule the roost now. They say it's going to kick off late. It's going to kick off late. If they say it's kicking off on time, regardless, it's going to kick off on time regardless because there's so many people got a vested interest in the advertising space. They're spending zillions on satellites. They're not going to mess around.
So once again, it's the fans who they're not bothered about.
They don't give a monkeys about the fans. The TV people. As long as you can see it on your TV, they're quite happy. I remember Peter Robinson saying years ago to a journalist. I happened to be in the room. They were talking about the pitch, and again, what you said before, John. The pitch nowadays it looks like a billiard table from where I sit, but it's the prospect of people getting up, the Everton Valley to the ground, steep slopes, lots of traffic sliding about, and slippy pavements, and then getting in the ground and you said the slipping and the sliding all over the stairs. And when I came out at the end, I got somebody to phone through, and they opened another door so I could go along the landing and down in the lift instead of down 6 flights of stairs, because I said those stairs will be a death trap by now, and I really don't want to chance it. And then we got out and got home. Yeah. And just sat there and moped.
And our defence wasn't the only thing leaking, was it, on Sunday, John?
No, apparently the Anfield Road stand was leaking. So that was
the new
something
roof.
else in common with Manchester United, because their stands all leak. But yeah, it was one of those days. I mean, we didn't play well. We didn't deserve to win, and we didn't win, but we didn't get beat. But, like we say, United fans celebrating like they were. I
wouldn't be surprised if they had a bus parade. Yeah.
But but being honest, I can remember going to Old Trafford in the 90s and that, and if we came out of there with a point, that's exactly what we were doing.
Yeah.
So but George is right. They were going to get their act together. I saw some strange things on both in the media and on the social media. One, I think it was Chris Sutton who took Laurison's job as the predicting scores, and he put down Liverpool to win 5-0. But if you go cast your mind back 12 months, we played Manchester United at Anfield, and everybody turned up thinking it was going to be another 7-0 because they were doing very well, and it was 0-0. So they came this time. They were on a bad run. They'd lost 4 in a row. And they got a point, and deserved the point.
Mm.
But we've got to get our act together.
We
And make
didn't play
sure.
well, did we?
No, but I'll be honest. I don't think we've been playing that well. Okay, West Ham were horrendous, but yeah, we were frighteningly good. We beat Tottenham 6-3, but we shouldn't have conceded 3 goals at Tottenham, and we've been conceding 2s and 3s for a little while now.
Mm.
And that's not all down to any particular player. That's the thing. I can remember a few months ago we played Brighton at Anfield, and we went 2-1 up after being 1-0 down, and almost within minutes, Arnie had sent on more defenders. So it was, let's shore this up and get the points, and we did. On Saturday, we didn't. We seemed to play a totally different game, and we've not looked good defensively for some time. That's my view.
George?
Yeah, the same. That there's, I think we missed Ibrahim Kanati more than we thought we were going to. People have been going on about Trent. I didn't think he had that bad a game on Sunday, but again, it was one of those days. And don't forget, I'm old enough to remember the Shankly idea of thing. In his view, you either won or you didn't win. We didn't win. So as far as if Bill Shankly was around, he'd be saying we'd lost that. And that's the way. And my poor daughter, when I got back to my car after the game, she was had a face like thunder. And I said, "Well, if we didn't lose," she said, she pointed out where she works in New Willows. The place is full of United fans. So I said, just take the league table in and show them that'll keep them quiet. I have every time I talk to a group of people away from Liverpool, I always say, are there any United fans in the room? And one or two put their hands up. I always say, well, I have a special offer for you. If you want to see the European Cup you won in 1999, it's in our museum. It'll only cost you about a tenner to get in and have a look. That's the killer.
Yeah.
I've spent too much of my life working in Manchester before I jacked in the day job. They're a horrible shower. I don't, the whole lot of them. And this guy in charge now, I don't think he's going to do them any good. He's not making himself popular with the fans. Getting rid of all the concessions and cleaning out the office staff and all the rest of it. I think it's going to be a while before they get back, to trophy winning days. I really do. But they'll say last Sunday, I just glad when the United game has been and gone.
Yeah.
And just one other thing I meant to say: the upside on Sunday was that two of my son's friends were over from Singapore, and I know it was their first visit to Anfield to see a game. They'd been previously and done the tour or whatever. But I felt for them. I thought if this match is called off, they will have travelled thousands upon thousands of miles, spent a fortune, and won't see it. And they were so happy to just have been inside Anfield and seeing the game, felt the atmosphere. Because as you and I both know, you've got no appreciation of what it's like inside Anfield until you've actually been in Anfield on a match day. You can see it on the TV, see the colour, hear the noise, but until you've been in the middle of it, you have no clue what it feels like. And
Particularly
it's
that fixture as well, George. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yes, that fixture. I know the.
Yeah.
I'll just every season I say if I was in charge, I'd just not bother playing the match. You just call them a draw and forget about it. My blood pressure suffers greatly when I always start off thinking it's only another game. Then about 30 seconds in, I'm screaming and shouting and banging on the windows and whatever. There you go.
All right. Well, you mentioned Trent, and obviously Trent, Virgil, and Mo. This is the talk of the contract, and there is one picture I want to show. Now, I think this is genuine. I wasn't at the game, so I don't know. This is supposed to be a banner that was on the Kop. And
That
if
is
you can't,
true.
that is true. That was there, John.
Yeah.
FSG,
Yeah, I saw that.
give Mo and Co the dough. You saw it there too as well, George. All right. Well, we've confirmed that. I saw that photo on Twitter. Okay, so where are you at with this contract debacle, John? First.
Well, personally, I think it's embarrassing.
Right.
That's all I can say. We've got 3 players there. We've got Mo Salah, in my opinion, currently the best player in the world, and he has been before. He's currently the best player in the world. Virgil van Dijk, again, in my opinion, the best centre half in Europe. Trent might be slightly different, but yeah, you know, how can the club have allowed this to happen? I mean, it's not that whether there's some undercurrents that we don't know about. I mean, that can always happen. But you know, somebody should have said, look, what they're asking for is not on. But nobody's saying anything, and it shouldn't have got to this stage. It should have been resolved in the summer, maybe even. You know, let us know what's happening. But I can't honestly believe any other club would have got themselves into this situation where 3 of their top players are all internationals, all quality players are in this situation. If Trent wants to go, fine, I can understand that. His other players have gone, you know, but we shouldn't be in this situation. That it's embarrassing.
George, I know you've probably got to be careful what you say because, you know, being an employee of the football club, is there anything you can say on this?
No, well, you know as much as I do about what's going on with the contract. One thing I'd said on Sunday, which I still stick to, I was watching Virgil throughout the game, and I said we couldn't live without him at the moment. He's commanding the whole half of the pitch. You know, his football brain is just wonderful. I think I try not to say he's the best centre back I've seen at Anfield because all the other centre backs that come to mind are part of a partnership. You know, you couldn't have Hansen without Lawrence, and you know, there's Phil Thompson and Emily Hughes, all the way back. You know, there's been twin centre backs who've been brilliant, but Virgil, he stands out. You know, on his, I remember when he came, we'd been going through the opposite, hadn't we? We've been trying to get him out to Southampton for months and months. And when he actually turned up, I was so pleased. And I've been proved right time and time again. He's such a great player. Trent, he's in a different area because he's a local lad. I remember him joining the academy when he was 8. I know my wife was speaking to a relative of his. So my little nephew has just joined the Liverpool's academy, and she asked what his name was, and she said Trent Alexander-Arnold. And my wife thought, I won't forget that, will I? So he's been here all these years. He's part of the place, and you know, I don't know how much influence Jude Bellingham has or is supposed to have had over him, but I can't. Surely he doesn't want to leave his hometown club. It's been part of his life. I know Jurgen was his big mentor. Jurgen brought him in, brought him through, but it's local football club he's playing for, not Arne Slot or Jurgen.
He has shown that he is quite ambitious, though. I mean, I think he made. I think you know, with his England appearances, I think he stood up and he said to Southgate, you know, he wanted to be taken seriously for England and stuff. So he does have an ambitious streak to him, doesn't he? And that play into that. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate he's ambitious, but Where do you want to be if you're ambitious? You want to be in the best club. He's at the best club.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
there already.
yeah,
What more can he
yeah.
want? So we've won everything the last few years, and the way things are going, he's going to have more silver polish to buy next May. But what's his problem? I appreciate there's money involved, but there's only a limit to how much money you can actually spend. I look at reading that thing online over the weekend about Sadio Mane. His famous cracked screen on his phone because he spends all his money back home, and he's got a car. He can only drive one car at a time. He can only eat one meal. He can only live in one house, and he spends all his money making life better for the people back home where he came from. And Dirk Kuyt's another one on the quiet, isn't he? And who was it? Oh, Craig Bellamy. Um, they just never sort of went mad about the money they were getting. They were happy playing football, and they were doing good with the money they had. But you can't put on when Conor Bradley came on Sunday. I said he's trying to make a statement because he came out like a rocket, didn't he? He nearly killed the right wing, left winger in the first
Did
5 minutes.
Anna leave Trent on too long on Sunday?
Probably, yeah. If I don't understand why you take people off that late if they scored a hat trick and you want them to have a round of applause on their own. You
Yeah.
don't, but at the time I didn't think. Maybe Arnold could hear the crowd behind you getting on Trent's back. I don't know, but again, not my problem. But he, I'll say if Conor Bradley stays fit, he's going to be a wonderful player. But again, last summer we were all saying that Conor Bradley was the future at right back, and they were going to move Trent
To
into
midfield.
midfield. But now it just hasn't happened. But Trent, when some of the crossfield passes he puts in nowadays are out of this world. They're in the Steven
Yeah,
Gerrard
yeah.
category, and well, I don't want him. I don't want to lose him. But I say, the first person I really couldn't contemplate losing is Virgil. Mo, we mustn't, he scored so many of our goals this year. I don't really, you think sometimes, well, if he goes, we've got so and so, so and so, so and so. Nothing is ever going to replace Mo. We may as well make the most of him while he's here. He's allegedly happy in Liverpool. Been settled for a long time, feels like he belongs here. And I can't believe he'd want to go to Saudi and for the money. Really can't. And if he does, Liverpool should bite the bullet and say, okay, where do we sign? Because they're going to have to give him a couple of years contract, and probably no more than that. Well, however much it costs, he's worth it.
If we could
And
only keep one of the three, who would it be, George?
Virgil, no problem,
John?
straight up.
I was asked that question outside Anfield by a journalist, and I said I refuse to answer it because we should be keeping all three. We shouldn't be in this
Keep all three.
situation.
Yeah,
That's still my take.
yeah. The club's not handled it well at all. No.
No.
All right. Well, let's look ahead to Tottenham then. The League Cup. It's over 2 legs in this day and age when we're playing twice a week. Should that be over? Should that be one game? What do you think, John?
Oh, it should be one game, and as I said to you off screen,
Yeah.
play it at a neutral venue. You could play that at Villa Park, and you could play the Newcastle Arsenal game at somewhere like Leeds, somewhere like that, and that'd be fine.
There's nowhere like Leeds, John.
Sorry?
You said
I
somewhere
said
like
there's nowhere like Leeds.
No, there's
Thank
not.
the Lord.
But that's what you play it somewhere, and don't have this idea of playing home and against. I understand the reason they do it because it's the Football League Cup. It's not anything to do with the Premier League, but the Premier League clubs are entering it, and the Football League make money out of these games, and obviously the semi-finals and finals they make more money, and a lot of that money goes down to the clubs who's playing in League Two. Those clubs want the money, so they've got to find a solution. But it can't be another game. You know, I mean, blimey, George, you can remember it when you used to play home and away in the League Cup from the first round onwards. And I went to Anfield when Robbie Fowler scored 5, and you could have counted the number of people who were in the ground. I think it was 12,000. You know, they gave Fulham the whole of the Anfield Road end, and I think they came in a car. So because they'd lost the first leg. Wasn't there? There was a classic case many years ago when Liverpool played again Fulham in the first leg at Anfield and won 9-0, and they played the second game at Fulham, and the Fulham programme had got, if the scores are level after 90 minutes, there will be 7 minutes of extra time. But that's what you got. Yeah. But it's anyway.
George, what do you think of it, of the League Cup and the way it's...
Obviously, I have a slight vested interest because that means I'm guaranteed an extra match fee.
Right, okay,
Pay the gas
I'm guaranteed to sell some fanzines.
The explanation of that is that if I'm getting a few quid for doing it, it's more money in the coffers of the club. But this time, the 4 semi-finalists, Arsenal, Newcastle, Tottenham, Liverpool, none of them need the extra money. So it's probably the Football League are leaning on any game that they get nowadays on the TV channels. It's more people pushing it to pubs and clubs and paying their Sky subscriptions or whatever. But I say I can take your point about playing the semi-finals on neutral ground, but I've never thought of it in regard to the League Cup. I mean, as far as the FA Cup is concerned, it appalls me that we play semis at Wembley over one leg. They say neutral ground, great, but the whole thing about the FA Cup years ago used to be the fact you end up playing at Wembley.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you go to Wembley. You go to Wembley to get the chance to play at Wembley, which is insane.
Yeah.
But as I say, the neutral ground. I'll just remind I'm talking about Leeds. I'm trying to think who it was used to say Leeds. Oh yeah, that's where the M62 is cobbled.
You mentioned the FA Cup, George, which brings us nicely onto the game next weekend, which is against Accrington Stanley. Before we talk about that, Accrington Stanley might be fired up, and it might be revenge for this 80s TV commercial for milk.
Got any lemonade? If you want. Milk? Ugh! It's what Ian Rush drinks. Ian Rush? Yeah, and he said if I didn't drink lots of milk, when I grow up, I'm going to be good enough to play for Accrington Stanley. Accrington Stanley? Who are they? Exactly. Nah, get off. Give me some. Get off.
So
I've seen that a million times. It still cracks me up, that kid.
Well, have you seen this response to it, which is from many years later?
Got any lemonade? If you want. Milk? Ugh! It's what Ian Rush drinks. Ian Rush? Yeah, and he said, if I don't drink lots of milk, when I grow up, I'll only be good enough to play for Accrington Stanley. Accrington Stanley? Who are they? Exactly. Now get off.
Actually, lads, this makes no sense. Accrington Stanley are in League One now.
So they're quite good then?
Exactly.
That's who put that on. So, but you predicted this, didn't you, John, that we'd get Accrington Stanley in the FA Cup?
Well, it's sort of. I said that that's the team I wanted. I've always had a love for Accrington because I can remember the day 1962 when they went out the Football League, and it was a very sad day for football because that was the first time I think a club it had happened, and they went out and people thought that was it, but they went away. They went and played in the Lancashire combination for a couple of years, then went totally bust, and then came back and climbed their way up through the leagues, and eventually got to play. I think they played a semi-final at Old Trafford, if I'm right, and got back into the Football League. To me, it's a fantastic story, and I really, really hope on Saturday that they. I don't want the obviously. I want us to beat them, but I hope Accrington Stanley go home with a pocket full of cash because they deserve it. They've struggled. They still struggle, but yeah, if they go home with a lot of money and the television money and all the rest of it, then I will be delighted. And I just think this is what the FA Cup should be about. The little clubs coming to the big clubs, and it's fantastic. And I really, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to that more than I'm looking forward to the Tottenham game tomorrow. Because
George, your thoughts? Sorry, John, what was that?
I just have this thing about Accrington Stanley, and I can remember once I went past Peel Park, their original stadium, and it was a derelict building. I can't remember where I was going, but I went past Peel Park, and I just thought, one day I want to watch Accrington play.
Well, you're going to get that. Yeah, you're definitely going to get that. George, your thoughts on Accrington Stanley?
Well, it's the romance of the cup, and the romance of the town team. There are some teams that they're the only they're the only club in the town, and when the club is doing well, the whole town is doing well. It's the exact opposite of what happens in Liverpool. Obviously, when if Liverpool are doing well, the other half of the city are fed up, vice versa. But the case like Oldham, Accrington, Rochdale, Leeds,
Newcastle.
you name Newcastle, yeah. If the team is actually representing the town on so many levels, and what you said, John, about them going out of business and fighting their way back is true. But it's so good to see them back where they belong. I mean, it's such a struggle now at the bottom of League Two. I think another of my things I bang on about. I think it's time we went back to the time when you remember a long time ago they had first division, second division, and the third division north and the third division south.
Yeah,
I think
very much.
it'd be great if the National League moved up and spread out, and because there's some really big clubs in the National League. Look what's happening to Wrexham.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago they were playing, all sorts of small clubs from small towns, and now look what they can do and the facilities they've got. What's happened to the club? And again, Wrexham FC do well. The whole town is buzzing. And I know, well, as John, well, Peter, as from Hotel Anfield, has bought into Wrexham big time. He's bought a hotel, hasn't he? And he's got big plans for that place. He might be the next Elon Musk. We better keep well in with him. But no, I'm looking forward to start. As I say, I'm the same as you, John. I hope we win. It'll be nice, nice, close but not too close. There's a close call, and there's a close call where I'm spent the last 15 minutes having apoplexy up in my little room now. But it'd be nice if they go when you go home with some money. I think we're going to have a big crowd. And there we go. And I heard somebody last week. It sounds so hollow now. Somebody saying that he heard that um, Arne Slot was going to rest some players for the last Sunday to save them for next
So
Saturday
that,
against Accrington. And that went belly up in good style, didn't it?
that
But,
you did.
yeah,
But
although you give them a good hiding, and that'll go a long way.
I can throw in a piece of totally useless information because we played Accrington in, I think it was 1956 at Anfield and won 2-0. And Liverpool were in the second division, they were in the third division north. And there was I think there was 40,000 odd at the game.
Yeah.
But I've said to Graham, I had a look at the fixture today, and the referee was a guy called Reg Leaf from Nottingham. And at that time, Reg Leaf was probably one of the most famous referees in the world because he'd actually refereed. This is showing my age, and you'll probably not remember the game when Wolverhampton Wanderers played Honved in a game in the 1950s. Yeah, and Honved was basically the Hungarian national side, and Wolves beat them. They reckon that's where the idea of a European Cup came from. And the referee of that game was Reg Leaf. And I actually went to watch Liverpool play at Leicester 20 odd years ago, maybe nearly 30 years ago now. My brother, who had a pub at the time and was, he got some free tickets, and I sat with Reg Leaf and I said, I can remember you. He was quite impressed. So that I knew who he was, because at that time he was, coming towards the end of his time.
Right, so it's a bit of So it was a historic fixture then, and it's a historic fixture again now. Then, Accrington Stanley, Liverpool playing them. All right, Forest then. Forest back in the title race. This really is like the old days, isn't it? Now with Forest, and John has got his head in his hands because John's missus is a Forest fan.
And the family.
Well, I thought she was such a nice woman.
So did I. I didn't read the small print.
So what's it going to be like in your house then, John? Well, you won't be there. You'll be at the match. Oh, are you going to Forest? You're going to Nottingham? So you're going to be at home?
Yeah, I'll be at home. Yeah.
Right. So that'll be a tense day then, I would have thought.
Oh, it's going to be. I'm tense now. I'm tense now.
They were always a hard team to play against, though, the Old Forest, weren't they? Difficult.
Yeah, but we've got a pretty. I know we didn't play them for 24 years, but when Clough was there, we didn't beat them very often, and that was at their ground. I think last year when we won with the last second goal from Nunes, that was the first time we'd beaten them at the City Ground in the league since the early 80s. So so it's going to be tough. The thing is, and I don't think people, or possibly some people, have cottoned on to this. We're playing 2 games every week. They're playing 1. Yeah. So we've got.
And they beat us at this Forest beat us at Anfield.
Yeah,
and deservedly
this
so.
season.
So.
Yeah. So this could be a bit of. This one's going to be tricky. We can't take this for granted at all.
But if you look at the results over the last 6 or 7 games, I think Forest have won the last 6. We've dropped points. Arsenal have dropped points. At this moment, I'm ruling Chelsea out of it. But the fight for the top 4 places, Man City, despite what people say, despite the fact that we like to have a laugh at Pep and that, but they're not going away.
No,
they won't win the league, but they're not going away. And Newcastle's on a roll, so there's a lot of football to be played. We for as far as we're concerned, we've only just reached the halfway stage. So what we've got to do in the second half season, starting next Tuesday, is replicate what we've done in the first half. Then we'll be all right.
George, you worried about Forest?
But not losing to Forest.
No, must remember an old saying that my dad used to trot out every now and again. It's amazing how many times a team will win away, then lose at home the following week. And that's keeping me going because they gave Wolves a good hiding last night, didn't they? But I imagine Nuno, the manager, had wound them up good style to take Wolves to bits. And, but it's going to be quite an interesting game. There's nothing to be taken for granted. But I'm very pleased. I'll be very pleased if the end of the season they're in second place in the Premier League behind us, because that was the good old days. I know. Well, obviously we're all old enough to remember the great Forest side that Cloughie had, and I had a run in with Brian Clough one night when he came with the reserve team to play at Anfield, and I remember on the way out afterwards there were some young lads that got into the dressing room area for somehow the steward had managed to miss them, and he was shouting at them, and the steward came and chucked them out, and I said, "I'm sorry about that, Mr. Clough. You call me young man," which was I always wanted to be called young man by Brian. I remember him saying it, saying, "Yes, it's all right." He said that you're hooligans and not our hooligans, young man, and then he disappeared. He was a character. I remember that particular night when I've calling all night. He let reserve team coach run everything except he had it in for one of their fullbacks. And during the first half, he sat in the bottom of the main stand, right next to this right back. He was shouting at him for 45 solid minutes. Come out for the second half, and he'd gone round. He was in the far corner of what was to be the centenary stand then, I think. And he was screaming and shouting at this poor devil for another 45 minutes. I thought a brilliant man management or rubbish man management.
He swapped sides just so he could still shout at the same player.
Yeah. Yes. It was just unbelievable. But he was.
And it was a reserve game. It wasn't even first team.
Oh no! It's but I mean, in those days, managers used to turn up to reserve games just to see what was coming through the ranks.
Yeah,
And it doesn't happen now. But sadly, but I won't forget that as long as I live. The face on. I thought you were going to clout me, but you didn't.
Well, I'll never forgive Forest because the first ever cup final I went to was the League Cup final '78, the replay at Old Trafford, when Forest beat us. So Phil Thompson brought down
the foul on the halfway line.
On the halfway line, yeah. So
the only game I believe that Ian Callaghan got booked.
Yes, he did. We spoke to Callie about that, didn't we, at Ardoo in Southport? Yeah.
Pat Partridge was the referee.
Yeah. Well, I'll never forgive him for that. Okay. John, you're off to Worcester soon.
Yes, next Wednesday. I'm hoping I'm not escaping. Should anything go wrong on Tuesday, but I've been invited to go to an event in Worcester where they are celebrating, strangely, the 66th anniversary of Worcester City knocking Liverpool out the FA Cup. And they are claiming, and I'm sure they're right, they're the only team in football that's got a 100% record against Liverpool. Played one, won one. So, But I can remember them doing it. But in them days, you used to get some strange results in the Cup. Liverpool were a second division. And Worcester City were, I think, in the Southern League or whatever it was then. And but on that day, on the day of the third round, the first game was postponed. But on the day of the third round, Tooting and Mitcham played Nottingham Forest, who keep getting into this story, and Tooting and Mitcham were 2-0 up. And I bought a paper wherever I was, and you saw the half times. You didn't. It wasn't like it is now, and so you see the half times. And Tooting and Mitcham were 2-0 up, or were 2-0 up at one stage, and Forest needed a late equaliser to get a replay, and they went on to win the cup. So so Liverpool basically played on, I think it was a Thursday, and got knocked out by Worcester City. So you used to get some strange results in them days, and frozen grounds, and you played on the frozen ground if the referee thought you could get by.
And so the do is to celebrate that anniversary then of them knocking Liverpool out of the cup. Right. Okay.
And also, somebody has done a large. I can't think of the word about Bill Shankly for a university, and they're going to give me a copy.
Nice one. Nice one.
Yeah.
What I remember about that particular round of the cup was we were in the middle of a vaccination campaign against polio in Liverpool.
Yeah.
That must have been the time they brought out the Salk vaccine, and there were posters all over Liverpool saying Liverpool can beat polio. Because on the Monday morning, all the Evertonians are writing along the bottom, but not Worcester City. I thought that absolutely brilliant.
Well, on that, I think we're all done. Unless anyone has anything else to add.
No, it's been fun. Thank you, George, for coming along.
Yes, thanks, George. It's been
pleasure.
wonderful. Yeah, and John Pearman, as ever, thank you. Remember, it's read all over the land, the longest lasting, the only surviving Liverpool fanzine for almost 30 years. John Pearman has been the editor in charge of it. If you go to readallovertheland.com, you can check it out there. There's some articles there. There's some stuff there that you can get for free, but you can also subscribe to the fanzine and get it in the mail, unless you can see John at the match, but weather permitting, buying it from John at the match itself. Thanks very much, guys, and until